There are a lot of AD carry picks, but there aren't a lot of high-tier AD carry picks. And then you have to go into, you know, what does Leo's champion pool look like? Like, what is he confident on? So,
I mean,
we'll see. I mean, they're going to ban away the Alistair for now.
He's only played 4 champions this season. One of those is Misfortune. But I don't think that's the route they wanted, the path they want to walk here. So we see the Camille ban coming through. I like that, actually. I wonder if T1 will just ban the Thresh here instead of actually the Aphelios. It's another way of banning it. It also says, like, oh, are you going to try to play a really unsafe Aphelios here? Good luck with that, which has been very unsuccessful. I think there's only been 1 win this whole season with an Aphelios that was played without a Thresh pairing.
You could ban something else and then pick Thresh for yourself as well. The Kalista Thresh combo is also very strong. They're going to ban
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, you could go for other stuff too. I mean, the Nautilus is still available, so...
I'm sorry?
But maybe, you know, in that lane that you were talking about, maybe you do just take away the Thresh so that Aphelios Thresh isn't an option.
I'm starting to really like your reasoning on this too, because now they get 2 of Effort's champions away on top of the Thresh that they can then pick away. And it seems like a really fantastic answer here. I like the Gangplank bans. 2 great answers to Gnar, the Camille, and the Gangplank. Historically speaking, although Gnar is starting to get the better of that Camille matchup for sure. Let's see if they are going to just take away this Thresh pick. Looks like the answer is no. Gonna go Jason to this one, maybe. Yes, the Aurelia.
But that would be for Kana.
Yep.
I mean, this is... Why do you not just pick up Thresh here? Carry is an awesome Thresh player as well.
Well,
and Liiv SANDBOX could have just scooped Aphelios Thresh and would have been very happy at this point in time. Let's see what they go for. Again, this draft, a bit confusing.
Yeah, this might be one of those moments. Oh, well, this might be why.
Tahm Kench? Who is that?
Okay, well, something Effort's played a lot in the past, but I feel like this game actually teaches us more about Liiv SANDBOX than it does about T1. You know? Like, almost every other team would have Aphelios Thresh here given this situation. But T1 is like, no, Leo, it's not in his wheelhouse. He doesn't like to play that champion. He hasn't played it yet this season. Okay. Well, that's maybe why also
what's going on
Thresh. Here? Is this a real game of LCK, or is this a draft bug? Nico, I did not expect to see that ever. So, okay. Well, this bottom lane is going to be very interesting. We're going to learn a lot about the power levels of these champs right now.
I don't even know what to say. I mean, this is just... Obviously, you see Tahm Kench. The value of pick supports like a Thresh or a Nautilus or something like that, they go down, right? But you're still going to have value in that pick in team fights where you're looking to engage onto a Victor and a Jhin.
Yeah.
You know, or even a Tahm Kench, right? We've seen that many times before. You still can go for it, but... Nico, you know, a ranged support, if you can even call her that, can put on pressure in the lane, and I suppose that's what they're going for. But again, you're gonna have like a little bit of less power with the Fate's Call.
Yeah.
It's just a very outlandish pick here.
It doesn't synergize with the Fate's Call. It definitely can set you up for a snowball against you if you end up falling behind as well. And yeah, some of the late game engage she's going to have, or mid to late game engage, is pretty solid, but I would have rather even seen the Seraphine here. If you want to take this route, if you want to have a more aggressive, you know, Enchantress support in the bot lane, why not go for the Seraphine? Why not actually try to control the lane and dominate it that way, rather than something that's really outside the box? I think we're going to learn a lot here in this bot lane about this Nico pick, how it interacts. Maybe it's even going to be something that we found pros to use against Tahm Kench specifically. Feels like that might be the best way to describe it right now. We'll have to see how it shakes up.
For sure. Well, this is going to be interesting regardless. We're hopping onto the Rift here for game number 2. And this time T1 on the red side, Liiv SANDBOX on blue. And yeah, I think you might be going along the right path, right? The Nico, you throw her in, or she goes in by herself. You can immediately Fate's Call her out. You get a lot of value from the Pop Blossom. And it's kind of along the lines of, you know, old Kennen support, old, you know, that kind of like relatively squishy, but you've got range and great engage. That kind of line. It's just something that, you know, it was just so off the map that it like really caught us off guard. So thinking about it, it's like, okay, you know, we see what you're thinking. And especially in that lane, you know, you were talking about maybe specifically against Tom Kench. Well, the way her root works is like if you hit multiple members, then, you know, it powers it up and the root lasts for longer. So maybe like as the Tom Kench spits out the 80 carry, you look for the empowered root onto the 80 carry. That would be very, very meta. Maybe very five-head, if you will.
Very Carrier-esque. Feels like a Carrier thing to do. Very smart player.
Yeah, and
I think that there's a lot of ways to you know, interact with the comp that they're running with the Pop Blossom as well. Like Pop Blossom into Vanguard's Edge, and you have the Shockwave that can set even up the Pop Blossom before that even happens. It's like kind of some wombo combos you can do in these team fights. But again, just unproven at the moment. So I'm excited to see how it turns out because I'm liking more and more Enchantress, you know, AP supports, less so than just, you know, the more meta, non-stop Alistair, Leona, etc., that we're seeing. It's definitely a little bit more variety. And we get to see the Tom Kench as well, first time here in the LCK this season.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody's really hyped about Tom Kench's return to the LCK.
He's back.
Welcome back. An old friend, if you can call him that.
Little fishy.
Yeah. It's cool in terms of like map control as the game comes along. And of course, into a Kalista, it's a pick we used to see all the time. It's just, it really feels like both coaches really dug deep into their bag of tricks here. And that's pretty cool to see, you know, at the end of the day. Definitely very off meta, not what we expected, but I love how, oh, well, that was unfortunate from Kana. But I just love the way that the draft kind of fleshed itself out. I feel like this would be something you would expect in like a game 4 of a best of 5 or something. Yeah. But like to pull it out here in game 2 is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean the draft got a little bit weird with all the bans we had on Marksman. We were gonna see Croco kind of caught in an awkward spot here, and Fate can't save him.
He's just dead. Oh, Cuz will go over the wall. Okay, he was just waiting for the stun. First blood very easily. Croco in a really awkward spot. And the Udyr just looks like the most genius pick into the Pantheon, especially after that line of play.
Well, yeah.
Just able to shut him down real quick.
I mean, if you're able to make plays like this in the early part of the game with the Udyr, then you wonder why they picked the Pantheon first. Like, I feel like that first ban, or that first rotation ban onto the Kai'Sa was, again, so intelligent from T1 because they get to control the entire space, or rather the entire like molding of this draft. Like they got so much flexibility in that early on, and then we had so many bans on Marksman that, you know, Teddy ended up picking up the Kalista, and you know the Tom Kench pick here might have been something that Liiv SANDBOX was hoping for and saving for in a situation like this to pair with the Jhin, and then now Carrier has the answer to this as well. It seems like, right? We'll have to wait and see and figure this one out as we go, but
yeah.
It feels like in some ways this draft is genius from T1. But we'll have to wait for the results before we know if that's true or not. Croco is in trouble. Yeah.
I think the second you see Udyr, you just run away. Especially because you've already died. Like, you gotta kind of seed the jungle over to Udyr. We'll see how aggressive Cuz gets going, because effort rotating up, he will have to respect that and does back away. But really making his presence well known and saying, I am in control of this jungle right now.
Yeah, and he clears super fast. So this is something that I was about to touch on as well, as Teddy's win rate on this champion. 30 and 11. He's played it 41 times. But yeah, when you can clear so quickly, like Cuz can, why not be hyper-aggressive as, wow, Effort has taken a ton of damage. Why not be hyper-aggressive in Croco's jungle, look for maybe even a second pick onto him, force the support of the bot lane to actually come and help out, and then just rush back over, take your jungle camps because you clear so quickly anyways. Like, even with that heavy commitment on the blue side, he's still up for CS. He's got Drake Prio, and is just going to get that for free right now. There's nothing they can do because they're losing this bottom lane as well, where right now so far, but we still don't know how this is going to function in a real-world scenario or in some of these upcoming team fights, but Carrier is just throwing everything at the bot lane, and it is sticking. So we're going to watch this again.
Yeah.
Let's pick onto Croco. Cuz just walks past him. He's like, I'm an Udyr. We're between an Udyr and a Aurelia place, and that's going to be the stun after the follow flash over the wall. Fate's like, stay away from me.
가까이 간다. 잡았고.
Whoa.
정글 캐리가
Intense kicking.
천천히 하면 내가 캐리할게.
Clicking, rather. He said basically, I got him. Let's play it slow.
Yep.
Pretty standard stuff. As we did have a flash from Closer to try to get away from Fate. Fate has been having some success in this lane, as we did see earlier on. Closer had to be running away in the matchup. And so Effort going to come over here, get a bit of a roam off.
Effort loves to do that.
Help out.
I mean, that's where he's found his biggest strengths, I feel, in the early game, has been on roaming supports. The Nautilus in particular is the one that always comes to mind with me, but he has found success with the Alistar and the Leona as well, just trying to help out the mid lane, trying to get some extra advantages there. And that is what he's going to do here once again. Fuzz going to grab this Scuttle. Right now, the bot lane is the big glaring issue. So we see some Tom Kench stats, like right as I was going to actually say the CS difference. I think it's about 15 the lead right now for Teddy. If I remember correctly before the Tom Kench total pops up. It's actually 20, in fact, the lead at the moment. So this is where things are not going well with this Tom Kench pick so far.
Yeah, and this is the thing, you know, in the past, we always used to see Tom Kench over and over and over again. We're going to have a one-on-one here. We got Pantheon coming up to the top side, but Kana looking to turn it around. The Gnar ultimate does come out. The damage should be good enough, but Summit has to flash away. And that will be enough to get out of harm's way, and no triumph there for the Aurelia, as that will be, you know, it was close, but at least they do get that kill onto the Aurelia.
It's huge.
And pick up that kill.
Yeah, it's huge that they get the kill onto Aurelia, because she was starting to really take over the lane. Kana was having a great time. It's actually going much better, in fact, than what we saw previously, as we're actually going to see a dive here in the bot side to try to trade this back.
This bottom lane is just a disaster right now for the Sandbox. Effort is just dead. There is no hope for him, even under the turret, the second turret in the bottom lane. And, well, this is just hilarious. Gonna try to do some follow-up damage. I think he did about 57 damage there, maybe?
Something like that.
If I were him, I would have just been shooting for the minions, but maybe he was actually trying to and they were blocking it. Either way, that bottom lane for the side of Liiv SANDBOX is not going well. I mean, T1 look like geniuses at the moment.
Not going well is a polite way of putting it. And so far, I mean, we haven't seen. I mean, this has been. So once again, we're going to see a tussle here. This time, Closer trying to get the better end of it. We haven't seen what it's going to look like post 6, because, you know, Effort hasn't hit that yet and did get picked. But like, this is a 30 CS lead now, and Effort is. Where is he?
What is going on?
What?
I think he was trying to stop the backs, because Teddy has so much gold right now, and he was probably backing under turret, and he assumed that Kerio went back. That's just that's just a pretty bad look.
Can't happen.
Not gonna feel good about that bottom lane.
And this was this is a second kill after the first traded kill, where, you know, they got a pick onto Kana. Right, and they had the jungle top, so they traded it for 1-for-1. Even after Kana forced Summit to flash, so they actually flashed for flash. So it's actually not that bad, because we're actually going to watch this again. Kana gets the stun, and then you see the Pantheon ult come through. The Vanguard's edge is nice, but it's just not enough. It's really nicely played here by Summit. Flash away there and does get away. Krako helps finish the kill, but it has to be a flash for a flash, and then they trade a kill here down on the bottom side. So the flash of the flash and the trade here, it feels like, okay, well, T1's starting to get a bit of an edge here. And then somehow, which we'll probably see right after this, Effort dies a second time. Again, you're probably right on the money in terms of trying to stop him from backing. But, yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Kerio hides, and then he sees it. Effort's moving up, and it's like, you're level 5, buddy. If Kerio's still there, you're just dead. Yeah, and this time Kerio was there, so you're dead.
He has ult. You know, he's level 6, so it's just easy to make sure that that is 100% a kill. Nice dodge here. Pretty sexy.
Yep. Stacking up with the Conqueror. Nicely done. But, yeah, I mean, the bottom lane, right, the idea was there. And kind of the point I was trying to make earlier is, like, Tom Kench used to be out here all the time, and he never got punished. And it used to drive our analysts here crazy in the LCK. And now he's brought out in 2021, and T1 are like, nope.
I mean, look at this.
We have evolved. You can't just dive in. They're just going to dive the turret? The Tom Kent is easily dead. I mean, there's no way you're getting away.
Against the
And
Kalista,
Keria takes,
too, like...
yeah, takes a little bit too much damage, but that's okay.
I mean, they're not done.
Gonna pull him back, and Leo's dead too. There's just, you're not getting out of this. Well, actually,
I think he's still dead, but...
Doesn't flash. I think he should have just flashed and taken the kill, but yeah, they're just gonna wait and give this one to Teddy.
Just making sure Teddy can carry again. Meanwhile, Kana 1v3 having a decent time up here, buying time.
Yeah, he's also dead. Okay, well, Closer tries to help out there a little bit late, but not gonna get there on time. As they might even look, you know, they're really looking for value.
Yeah.
They're trying to catch up here as much as possible.
I mean, they
so
have
if they
to.
could get this kill, it would be nice, but
They don't have minions, so they can't really force the issue here. And Closer has ult, they know that. So if they actually commit in, Closer has flash and ult, so it's just probably not going to happen. Not at least until that minion wave goes through. But meanwhile, Teddy's going to get the last plate and the turret. As we see a teleport here into the mid lane from Kana. Just going to kind of swap roles here for a second, prevent them from getting too many plates. But yeah, I mean, these trades are... Liiv SANDBOX is really reaching to try to trade back value, and they are going to have this Herald coming in. Is almost taken out before it charges, but... you know, they're trying. They're trying to find anything that they can to trade back, but unfortunately, they're just so far behind, and Teddy is 50 CS up. Like, we could actually see... We probably will see a Flame Horizon between the ADs in this game. This Nico pick has been fantastic so far for Keria.
Yeah, it just looks so great. And, you know, on paper it looked good, and we saw it play out the way that T1 imagined, right? Keria, he is the type of player that can pull it off as well. Obviously, in the Tom Kench lane, you're going to have a fun time, and now they've rotated up top side.
Oh, no.
They'll actually get the root onto Summit. You can see just the amount of damage they do. I mean, Keria doesn't even have that many items at this point in time. Summit looks like he might just die here. He's going to hit the Mega Gnar, and actually, this time around, it looks like Cuz, just barely, is going to be taken.
Yeah, I just can't get that blast cone away. But yeah, the damage output, even with just the Sorcerer's Boots and the Amp Tome, is really high. And he just has so much CC. And when you are able to lock targets up, the Kalista just does so much damage as she's just kind of gathering spears on minions. And the burst is actually insane. So we're going to see a big commitment here from Rocco. Keria stayed too long. Fate's call to get him out of there.
Fate's call. Yeah, you're going to use that right after that stopwatch does come off. So... nicely done. You know, that's the other part of this, is that you know, if this were an even game, we were talking about what the value of Nico would be in the team fights, and it would be something like that right there. She would go in, she would pop Blossom, she would Zhonya's, and then she'd be pulled out. And we kind of saw like a mini version of that right there.
It can be, again, really good with all the follow-ups that there are on the side of T1, Vanguard's Edge, and a proper team fight later on as well. This is going to be the long version of this replay, where they look for the root and Summit, burst him down. Cuz is here. It's actually a really quick rotation up from Croco. So Summit gets a stun here, and unfortunately there's just so much CC that Cuz can't stick around. Wanted to blast cone away. Does get stuck, but yeah, it feels like in a weird way, like you know, Teddy is the DPS version of Tom Kench with his Fate's Call, and it's just got so much more utility than the Tom Kench, and the Jhin isn't accomplishing anything this game, so... yeah, I mean, we already have Immortal Shieldbow done here. Zeal's up as well, whereas just a Noon Quiver for Leo. Significantly behind. And I mean, how do you win this objective fight, like, if you're Liiv SANDBOX? It's, I mean, I guess one way is if T1 don't contest it.
Yeah, I think that would be not the right idea.
But they don't.
You're so far ahead at this point in time. They're holding it down. They've got Keria moving in, looking to get some wards down at least. And I think Liiv SANDBOX just know that they can't really commit to going for that. Surely, not super high value either on that objective, so they'll be okay to just try to get some vision themselves and back away and play from behind.
Yeah, the situation here is pretty dire for Liiv SANDBOX, because there's just no way for Leo to get back into this game. He's a very slow marksman who isn't going to be able to farm up like crazy, you know, in the later stage of this game. Something like an Aphelios, right, you think about, or a Kai'Sa, where later on, even if the waves are pushed, you just kind of get multiple lanes of farm, you know, a bunch of money gets funneled into you, and you do eventually finish your items. With Jhin, it's pretty hard to finish your items when you're this far behind, and you're just not going to make a big impact in team fights. And this is a game that just kind of rolls down the hill like a big snowball away from you if you're Liiv SANDBOX, and just gets harder and harder.
Imagine flashing away from the support Nico. It's just like the scariest thing. Maybe he was actually in his chameleon form there, but either way, we have a trade down in the bottom side. Kana flashing away from the wallop, or at least he tried, but was a little bit too quick on the trigger there. So Summit will pick up the kill, up a level, and Kana once again is going to go down, this time 1v1.
Yeah, this is a little bit unfortunate for Kana. Certainly showcasing a little bit of overextension, as Effort's going to go ahead and find his way on the backside of Teddy, who now has to play ring around the rosy.
Nice try, Teddy, but not sure about this one. You could see he's really desperately trying to trade this one back. They're going to give that kill over to the Jhin. It kind of looked like they wanted to give that to Fate, but Leo had other ideas in mind. And he does take down that kill.
Yeah.
Teddy flashing forward, trying to get away from that game.
You want to maybe try to make something of this, but without Teddy here, they just don't have enough damage. And Kana, obviously from dying moments ago, still isn't back in lane, so it feels like I've seen this movie before. It feels like, you know, this is in a lot of ways not as extreme, but a lead that T1 might be blowing.
Summit in a bit of trouble here. He is going to have to flash away from that one, and with the Stride Breaker, it looks like T1 won't be looking to follow up on that play. So at least they do get the flash away from Gnar. Maybe that'll help Kana in the side lane.
Watch this happen again. He does get stunned, pushed into the wall, doesn't avoid it with the flash when he tries to. Actually turns back around and gets hit by it anyways, so small misjudgment there. Actually ends up costing him his life and gives a lot of control to Liiv SANDBOX on the map. We see the Tom Kent ult in, and Teddy's kind of stuck here on the edge. Tries to trade it back, as you said, and you know, he has a damage output to where if this was maybe a 1v2, he could find something, but not 1v3, and I mean almost 1v4 there. But Valdez, you know, this is a game that it feels like T1 have gotten ahead, and they have certainly kind of squandered some of their advantages with some overextensions, with some hubris. You know, Kana trying to take 2 fights now that unfortunately he had no business taking. Just close, but not good enough. And Liiv SANDBOX are kind of trying to claw their way back into this. And the goal does need to be funneled to Leo, I feel. Fate's already, you know, gotten 2 assists here, and he's going to scale up a lot easier, can clear minions a lot better. I think it's going to be the hardest for Leo to come back, so glad that he got that kill. He decided that he wanted to grab that kill. Like you said, it looked like they might have wanted to give it to Fate, but he decided, and he got it. And hopefully, you know, for Liiv SANDBOX's sake, they can bring it back, because once again...
Oh no! What is going on in this top lane? Poor Kana. He's desperately trying to get something going, but he keeps getting caught. And there's just no way for him to get out of here, as now the Nico's got to get in there with a Pop Blossom. Leo is going to have to flash away, as Closer just barely gonna get away from that one, but does get sniped from range. And at the end of the day, now Krako and Effort trying to move forward, but they are not gonna be able to get much. So many low health bars here, and now Cuz is just going man mode onto so many members of Liiv SANDBOX. He gets a double kill, and Leo just zoned out for a little bit too long. Summit desperately trying to play carry here in this game, as Teddy not able to take out his AD carry opponent, as at the end of the day, it's going to be a kill onto the Jhin, or the Nico.
That was actually pretty, I think, pretty overzealous from T1 to think they could turn that one around. I mean, Cuz getting the first kill is fine, but trying to actually win this really crazy skirmish is going to always go... it's definitely not going to go in your favor the longer that fight goes on, because there's only mini stuns really that you're off. Is Kana just completely whiffs everything here, and is also just too far behind, gets stunned into the wall. This is a really nice start here for T1, as, you know, like you said, goes man mode into this fight. Cuz does in the back parts of it. Fate is pushed away, and like they do end up getting good kills here, but you know, he survives here, and then now is the time where you think, okay, it's time to leave, but they actually try to turn this around. As meanwhile in live, something almost critical happens around the pit. Just watching that to make sure nothing happens, but. You know, we've already seen this just moments ago, and Teddy just overextends here. Like, there's no reason to try to force this. And once again, T1 just kind of playing this scrappy game that they don't need to play.
I was wondering how Nico died on the backside of that. I didn't see the grenade, as Carry is going to be cursing Cuz for that one. he was definitely getting away, but Cuz just decided he would like to kill a support. He's like, sorry, bro. You've got to go down. You've been having too clean of a game so far, Carria. And, yeah, you know, this is a pretty interesting spot. I'm glad you mentioned it, Wolf, because we were kind of just, like, singing the praises of T1 and things were going very well, but they have a side lane that has just been a disaster. And now that another die that's not going so well, as Cuz is going to move forward, and again, this is directly into Jhin Victor. So you're going to have a ton of damage straight in your face if you're just running in, so you got to be careful. As T1 now on the run, it looks like at least they will dodge that fourth shot. But now Liiv SANDBOX on the Dragon. Fate in no man's land is going to have to flash away from that one.
Yeah. And Cuz and crew are now going to actually try to... Well, it looks like they were going to try to grab Summit here, potentially, but I think that he wants to grab them. He's at the front here, and T1 need to be careful about going into this choke point once again, where there's so much CC, there's so much frontline to actually make sure that Victor, Fate in this case, can actually do tons of damage. T1 actually now starting to lose a lot of health. Kana's looking for the flank.
Go.
Off the flank, and there it is.
Got Pantheon getting in. Kana with that big flank that you did mention. Krako totally isolated, and Kana's actually getting a decent amount of work done here. He's even going to survive at the end of it. We got the Pop Blossom coming in from Carria, and he is pretty low, but Summit can't do it all alone. This is the problem. He's going to get the one. Now he's desperately trying to get on top of actually the Callista here, and he is going to take out another one. Can Summit actually do it alone? Maybe I'm going to be eating my words here, as he's even going to survive on the back of that fight somehow, some way. But at the end of the day, T1's still taking a big win in that fight. They get the Ocean Drake, and they will move ahead.
It's the Ocean Soul as well,
yeah.
And they move ahead here, but you can see there are certainly holes, there are certainly gaps in the way that T1's composition fights, especially when you see Aniko ulting and stopwatching, or Zonius in this case, now that it's finished. Zoniusing on one side, but then Teddy is not able to get into position to do maximum damage, and it's like Teddy alone is trying to carry a lot of these fights, but he's getting zoned out, and Summit has just gotten so big that there's just a lot of ways, I feel like, for Liiv SANDBOX to come back in this game, in these extended fights. I mean, Fate does a ton of damage, Carria ults in, but there's nobody there, and Teddy's like alone here on the front of the fight, gets a kill, Effort's walking away, and now he's kind of stuck, right? He's caught here, and this fight should not have been as close as it turned out to be, as Summit is just playing out of his mind this game, and since he's got such a huge lead, he can really make these big plays and try to turn this back as even as possible for Liiv SANDBOX.
Yeah, you know that saying where, like, you know, too much of anything is bad.
Yeah.
Like, too much of a good thing can be bad. It's like there was so much focus on the bottom lane for the side of T1. They were demolishing it. They're so far ahead. You can't take that away from them. But kind of, you know, on the other side, I feel like Liiv SANDBOX, they made the most of it. They're like, well, our bottom lane is done. We can't do anything about it. Let's try to bully Kana and see what comes of it. And now we have a 4-0-4 super fed Gnar.
Yeah.
So there is a chance. You know, T1's still in the lead. They have Ocean Soul. They're in a great spot. Not taking that away from them. But let's see what Liiv SANDBOX can do. They're playing pretty with kind of like reckless abandon.
Yeah.
You know, they know they're kind of in an awkward spot in this game. But we'll see what they can do.
Don't have an amazing front line, actually. You know, T1 don't. And they don't have great peel. They have really nice engage. They need to win the fight very quickly.
All right, well, the ball carrier getting a lot of work done there, but they can't get the damage on the Krako, and now Cuz is all alone. He is going to be able to walk out of that one, thankfully. And with the Ocean Soul, if you take trades like that and you don't die, it's not going to be bad, I suppose.
It's not over,
now they're a little bit zoned away, as here we do have the Jhin ultimate coming out here. Cuz trying to tank up as much of that as possible, and T1 will regain position here in the mid lane.
Look at where, you know, how these fights are going. If T1 can't actually win the fight in the initiation, they're really struggling to close them out. Here's a flank from Cuz.
Okay, trying to get on in there, and they do get the knock-up onto the Victor. They would love to take away Fate, but that is a really nice devour. Fate will live, but Effort might pay the price in the front line. He's just on the run here. Kana with no ultimate. He's just going to get exhausted. Not even able to take out Krako, and he will go down. Moving a little bit too far forward, and Summit is so massive at this point in time. Nearly able to take out Cuz, but will have to back away.
I think there's a really good chance that Liiv SANDBOX come back in this game. The team fights are starting to look more and more winnable. They're starting to actually survive these engages. That was an amazing devour from Effort. And then you just see that T1 actually continue to chase. They really struggle against the damage output, and they don't have enough range to actually continue to secure those kills. There's the amazing Devour there against the ultimate coming out from Keria. And as everybody backs away here for Liiv SANDBOX, there's a stun placed down. And look at Fate do so much damage with the Death Ray. See you later, Aurelia. Kana goes down, causes force back, and Liiv SANDBOX, they're still behind. And a lot of these champions, right, are behind in items, especially still Leo. He does have his collector now and his rapid fire cannon online. In fact, he's kind of caught up in terms of the items now with 5, 2, and 3. But like the gap is closing in these fights, and it feels like Liiv SANDBOX have a much more well-rounded composition to fight front to back.
Yeah, you know, I do agree with you both, and this is something I was talking about in Pick Down as well for the Kalista, right? She's very fed. She's in a great spot here. She doesn't have a tank support, so you're not going to have a massive front line, and she has that range problem as the game goes on. So who's, you know, we don't know. Like, in the late game, we might just see Victor and Jhin just one-shot the Kalista. That is still an option. And Liiv SANDBOX, the later this game goes, they're going to be feeling better and better, especially because Kana is not much of a factor right now. Like, if he was really fed and he was like a scaling Aurelia and Gnar couldn't really deal with it, I think T1 they probably just win the game. Like, I think that extra pressure would just help them push it. But because that top side of the map also didn't go so well, and now the game is extending to a really awkward spot for T1's composition, they might be in a bit of trouble. I'm curious to see how they navigate their way out of this.
Well, it's hard because you can't side lane as Kana safely anymore. You know, you're not going to be able to put that sort of pressure on. You know, like we saw Kana do, obviously, last game on the Camille, where he forced a lot of backs from Liiv SANDBOX, forced a lot of reaction, was able to threaten killing the Nexus, where, I mean, we're still... Turrets abound for Liiv SANDBOX in this almost 30-minute game. Like, there's not been that much turret clearing for T1. In fact, they're behind in that regard. They have really strong initiation, right? But if they don't get a kill immediately, it feels like, I mean, it's a very cookie-cutter initiation, too, where we just see Keria jump in, go for his Pop Blossom, Zhonya's, and then if T1 get a kill or two, they win the fight. Otherwise, Liiv SANDBOX kite back, and the Victor damage starts to add up. And this has happened several times now, and it was going T1's way at the beginning, but now, starting to feel like Liiv SANDBOX have really got their number here. They're on the wrong side of the map.
We're turning over right now, Wolf. The sides have changed, so now blue side is on the right side of your map, and red team, they're on the left side of your map. We have the Elder Drake up, and this is why we have this strange posturing right now. Summit trying to do his best to zone away T1. As a team here, he's going to lose Mega Gnar, though. Do Liiv SANDBOX have the damage to burst down this Elder Drake is another question. And if T1 can corner them with a big Pop Blossom, then they'll have all the engage they need. But Keria takes a ton of damage. There's the engage, though, with the Shockwave onto Krako. But Keria is a non-factor on the backside, and so is Cuz by himself, zoned away. And Fate is doing way too much damage in this game. As the heal,
he's untouched.
Is going to come out.
He's basically untouched here, Valdez. And the Elder Drake is on Team Liiv SANDBOX right now as well. T1 kind of getting caught there, taking a ton of damage. Now they have to reapproach here.
Krako's getting low. Summit, though, with the Mega Gnar. They're going to try to burst him down, but the Devour is there again. But here comes the engage and a massive Gnar ultimate onto 4 or 5 members. But Keria's follow-up is just pristine. And you just give that Pog boat right to Keria right now. Hops in there and gets it off. Might have been the Fate's call. Who knows? It was just the best engage ever.
It was so perfectly done. And it was in a crisis moment as well. The follow-up there.
They're going to try to end.
They are going to end. I mean, they have the pushing power to at least grab. Well, I thought they were going to commit into that turret. They have to wait for the wave, but I thought they were going to actually grab the inhibitor there. But they're going to take this Elder Drake first, but they can still use this Elder Drake to try to push to end as well. As we're going to watch this fight again. It's actually insane the damage that Fate is getting off in this fight. And then look at Summit. He's isolated, he's rooted, he's by himself, but he gets eaten here, devoured, and then boom. The re-engage, triple stun, but it's still just not enough. Keria says Pop Flash, or Pop Blossom, excuse me, into the backline here, and Leo is down. Fate can't rejoin the fight anymore, and finally T1 get that burst engage that we're looking for. They finally get that one moment where everybody disappears on a flash for Liiv SANDBOX. They end up getting the Elder buff, T1 do. But, you know, they're still not able to push any further with the respawns coming through.
I swear, Teddy and Karya, they are trying to carry this game so hard. If they did not get that engaged, the two of them, I think probably Liiv SANDBOX just win that and take the Elder, and then who knows what happens from there with their late game scaling. Oh man, and poor Summit too. I mean, he's desperately trying to carry this game.
He really is.
He's trying to pull it up by the bootstraps right here, but he just can't seem to do it. You know, it's just not enough with only the Gnar. And Victor just doesn't have enough burst damage, I suppose, to follow up on that engage.
Yeah. This is going to be very much a heroic defense, if there is going to be one, for Liiv SANDBOX now. Elder and Baron together. We got both corners of our UI covered up, T1 do. And there's the executes there that come with it. The Baron buff is going to mean that the minions are going to crush this inhibitor so quickly after the turret goes down. Go ahead, curtain call defensively here as Cuz is looking for action.
He's so big now. He is quite tanky indeed. And finally he can frontline. Nice devour there onto the Gnar. And T1, they're not going to push the issue in the mid lane. Looks like they want to rotate up top side. A lot of value still left there with the 3 turrets still available. So looks like they want to push in there. But again, they're on a bit of a timer here, so they got to be careful.
Yeah. Right now, the position on the map, obviously, they had to back away, T1 did, and for the Elder buff, there's only 20 seconds left, so we're still a ways away from another objective, and they don't have enough vision, they don't have enough information, Liiv SANDBOX don't, about where anybody is. I mean, they can see 4 members here, but they don't know where the rotation is from closer. It looked like they were trying to catch a rotation there, maybe catch him side laning, but he just simply is rotating safely towards where the rest of the team is, so there's no pick potential here for Liiv SANDBOX. They wanted it so badly. Just gonna have to take a defensive fight. Teddy,
what's going on here? He doesn't have a devour on his side, but was it a bait? Summit does it again, and they take out Teddy, but the follow-up from T1 is pretty good. They've got Kana in the back line, and it looks like Leo is going to go down as well. T1, it's not pretty, but it looks like it's going to get the job done. They're going to push in for the ace, and they will take this game.
Liiv SANDBOX pitting up a great fight here in this best of 3. 2 amazing games that went late game, where T1 did struggle to finish after having a massive lead in both games 1 and 2. They close it out here cleanly in this second game here after taking every single objective on the map. But